one of the partners that we have, and I'll be talking to you today about how to scale some of the solutions that we have, leverage AI capabilities. So with that, Rodolfo Sacconi is the CEO and founder of AdMobilize.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good to be here. If you see my accent, my mom is Argentinian, my dad is Brazilian, my wife is Cuban, and what is going to be my son, who's almost a year old. But that's regardless. So I'm very happy to be here, very inspired by what I'm hearing. So let me tell a little bit about what we started doing, which was a way of quantifying the physical world with AI. So thinking of computer vision, intelligence. And I forgot, it's a joke, but my hat that said, let's make retail sexy again. You know those hats? Okay. But the idea is that if you use AI in the right manner, you can increase the customer experience, not only in gathering this data, but also in the interactivity. So when we started the company like 4 years ago, we were counting about 100 engagements per month. Today we're about 1 million engagements per month. And the only reason I'm showing you this is, as Mike Walsh, who's a dear friend, said earlier, was this concept of you can't miss the curve, because if you missed it, partners or other businesses are going to eat you, or you missed a huge opportunity. So the way I look at AI in retail is kind of like Web 1997. So these are some of the brands that have utilized our technology in retail, in shopping malls, just throughout the world, in over 82 countries actually. So how does this work, right? So our thing is kind of how do you measure this sensor fusion in things that are very easy. So I always say, I have the other pocket, I have a Visa card, but for today, I will show you this. So this is called an AI sensor. This little dot that you see here, it's an 8 megapixel camera. It's taking about 20 pictures per second anonymously, and it's analyzing data in real time. So it's kind of, think of it like a Google Analytics for the physical world. So retailers put this technology in their locations, or if they already have technology there, all you have to do is put like a $10 Logitech camera, and it's capturing this real-time data. So I believe in this concept of like touchless technology, right? That the user or the client don't necessarily need to have hardware on them for you to have this technology. And I break it down into 3 main pillars. The first pillar is this concept of capturing data and seamlessly, anonymously, but it's kind of liquid gold for retail. And I'm not talking about mobile data. I'm talking about physical world data, right? So the second portion is this concept of interactivity. And everything is going to make sense, but can the user interact with you or a digital screen just by themselves, be it their faces, their body movement, their voice recognition, in a way that it's all at scale? I don't care about you having spent $30,000 and putting something sexy in one corner of Macy's. No. Create the technology so you can put my Macy's globally. That's what you're looking for, right? And the third one is data pipelines. What are you doing with all this data? Can you push this data to your kind of POS systems? Can you start predicting behavior based on this intelligence, right? And I'm going fast because I want to be very respectful of everybody's time. So look at this technology that you see here. And at the end of the day, you're going to be able to experience it a little bit around the kind of the conference room. But you're measuring that, and I'm talking 92 to 99% accuracy, age, gender, emotion, attention time. And all of this information is then information that you might not have known at the retail locations of where you're creating your businesses, right? So this is 100% anonymous video intelligence. And a lot of people, understandably, they say, okay, I don't want to do anything with facial recognition. China is great at facial recognition, but that's China, right? So I wanted to show this particular video because it looks at how our technology works. Basically, your face has 80 points that are converted into binary numbers, and the data is aggregated. So it's kind of privacy at design level. And when I showed you the AI sensor, all of this information is happening at the sensor level. So it's really edge processing. So if you haven't heard of the term edge AI, research is kind of the future of this convergence of data, right? And I think, facial recognition, there will be a space for it, right? Maybe you have certain check-ins or in your phone app. There's room for that, but I foresee it's going to be a little farther out. There's still a lot of pushback. So obviously we only do anonymous face detection now. And we have also created another technology which is counting hundreds of people per minute with accuracies of close to 98% accurate. And this is very powerful because mobile data, usually it's subsets and it's expensive. But if you're a retailer, you can own this data. I think at the end of the day, what you want to be the data owner. I think that's really powerful and what you should look at. So how can retailers use this kind of technology? So think of digital signage. When you go into stores, they have kind of a big screen, or the malls or airports. I would like you to think of that as a really powerful engagement venue for your retail locations. Think of it like a one-to-many. Our mobile phones are one-to-one, and the screens are tiny. But when you have a screen like this is a beautiful kind of screen to push your messaging, right? What if now you can start tracking how this technology happens? Or can you change ads or content based on the audience? So later you're going to be able to experiment. Like if you're a lady in front of a screen, we can push content, let's say for shoes. But if you are over 65, maybe it's a different type of shoes than if you're maybe 12 years old. Or if you have 3 guys with beards, I see many beards. Obviously it's a Latin American crowd. I shaved mine, my wife said shave a little bit, so I shaved mine. But if you have 3 guys with beards in front of a screen, maybe they're going to push an ad for Gillette or whatever, Shavers Club. And now you can track the data into how you operate your own business. So it becomes really powerful. So it's not only, it's kind of capturing interactivity, and then what are you doing with this data? Then, this is an example from a large client of ours, and what they did is, within a specific section of the retail location, they put digital screens. And what they did was, first there was no digital screens, so basically there was no engagement. They put a digital screen, so then people started getting more interactivity, but then the content was static. Think of like just a static kind of paper on a wall, and then they said, now we're going to be able to start triggering ads based on the audience, and then the spike started going up, so they could prove about, I think it was 8 to 10% lift of selling the right product at the right time of physical world data that they would have not had before. And what happens is that you can do a lot of A/B testing, which is really, really powerful in physical world, because on web you can do that very easily, right? You put an ad, you get some people, they watch the ad, you say, okay, this people click more on this ad, and there you go. But how do you do it in physical world instantly in real time? This is all 15 milliseconds data that is pushed to a dashboard or to your own dashboards. Renato talked about APIs. I mean, that is the future. I mean, you want to make those data pipelines extremely easy. So a lot of pop-up retailers, and I think this is a very interesting way of how retailers are going to market. This could be below-the-line activations of new product, trying to enter new markets that they haven't before, but then do they know how many people approach this? What was the demographics? Which side were they coming in and out? All of this data that can really serve as granular firepower. And then storefront, right? Do you know how many people that passed by your storefront that came in or not? And have you done a test, like put this mannequin and then this mannequin, how much was this mannequin bringing people in, kind of your occupancy? It's kind of like, think of the same metrics you have online, like shopping cart abandonment and all of these things. Now you have this kind of technology for the physical world. This is just a very quick peek of the kind of dashboards that you can extract, things such as age, gender, emotion, dwell time, peak periods, and all of the data. So think of it like Google Analytics for the physical world. And I think that is about it. It's a pleasure to be here. As Mike said earlier, is take calculated risks. Like, why wouldn't you do it? This is the best time in our history of technology where you can launch products, launch companies, and launch new ideas and businesses than ever before. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you a great rest of the Visa Summit. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Eduardo Cuello.